Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lesson. So we're looking at difficult volleys this week at DTL. Today we're going to look at the half volley. This thing can cause a lot of trouble for a lot of you viewers out there. So I want to kind of break down the ideas that I have for hitting successful half volleys. All right, so let's first look at one or two half volleys just with me executing them, and then we'll break down how I'm getting this result. Okay, so here I am, and that ball hits the ground just before it gets to me, and I'm hitting a shot that does not clear the net by all that much margin, and that's by design. The reason for that is when I'm back here on the service line and I have to hit a half volley, the last thing I want is for the ball to elevate up to my opponent where they can pick off a ball and really attack me. So what grip are we in when we volley? We're in a continental grip, and generally those strings are relatively open. Okay, so if I got a low volley out of the air from the same position, I would obviously want those strings open so that I get net clearance. Okay, but now what we got to look at is the idea that the bounce of the ball coming off the ground is providing height. It's providing elevation. So if with the bounce of the ball providing elevation and the open strings of a traditional volley also providing elevation, you could see how that would double up the height of the ball as it clears the net, and that would give my opponent some height to work with and a chance to attack me. So the key with the half volley is learning how to square the strings up a little more off the bounce to balance out the fact that the ball is rising off the bounce. How do we get it to level out and stay lower back over the net? There's two ways we can do this. On the forehand side, which we're looking at now, the first thing I would do, and this would be the one I utilize more, is honestly just to roll my hand. There's no grip change there. I'm still in continental, but as that ball hits the ground, I just roll my hand slightly forward, and you can see what that does with the strings. It creates a flat pattern that's going to level out this bouncing ball. So let's have a look at that. Pay close attention to my wrist, just rolling those strings forward as I get into contact. Okay, so you can see that's not providing all that much height to my opponent. Now, some people, that's maybe not the most comfortable move, which is okay. There's obviously another way to achieve that. It's to let the grip slide a little bit, closer to maybe an Eastern forehand grip. The one tricky thing I see about that is normally we're having to hit a half volley because the opponent has hit probably a pretty big ball at us. If it wasn't, wouldn't we have just run up and taken it out of the air? Most likely. So the fact that they're hitting a ball that's forcing a half volley means there was probably some pace or some spin on it that didn't allow us to take it out of the air. So if we're not dealing with a lot of time, even a minimal grip change can be a little bit tough to handle. So shifting that grip slightly, totally acceptable for the half volley. Now, let's look at the follow through. This is an abbreviated move, but it's not as abbreviated as I think a lot of you might think. A lot of players out there, I think, are planning on playing the half volley to literally stop at the tennis ball. To me, it's still a feel shot, and we want a little bit of racket work. So notice where the tip of the racket gets to on a standard half volley when I pull this shot off here. Okay, you can see the tip of the racket is actually pointing more out towards Mark's side of the court. Now, I didn't fling it out there. I'm not trying to get wild with this shot, and I definitely wouldn't go past this point. I'm not trying to have a traditional follow through around the other side of my body. But to just stop right at the ball, it's not going to give you enough momentum into contact to create a ball that, when we're trying to clear it low over the top of the tape, enough distance to actually get out there. So let that racket work a little more forward than you may think, to the point where the tip of the racket is out to the target. That's a good enough follow through. All right, now the backhand would be a half volley where I definitely sign off on a grip change, because once again, continental grip, strings are open, trying to roll my wrist to create more of a flat pattern. You can see how that wrist is bowed right there. Once contact occurs, if my wrist is in that position, that will not feel good. You'll end up trying to alleviate pressure and probably end up snapping off on this ball. So I like a grip change over to Eastern backhand to create that flat pattern. And also, once again, you know, you're trying to push through the ball. The backhand would really not be a half volley where I'd try to get the tip of the racket forward. It's a shot where we can kind of hold off from letting the tip go, but there's still extension there. So keep the strings nice and square on contact, push forward, let that arm extend, but the follow-through position, while it's out in front of me, is still going to have these strings more parallel to the net, not perpendicular. All right, so we'll take a look at one of those backhand half volleys here. Grip change gets over, and you can see right there, strings pushing out, tip of the racket not releasing as much the way the forehand did. Okay, so half volleys, when you pull them off, they're great. You're going to notice that the really quality ones stay low over the tape. That is definitely a product of squaring up the strings. Try not to hit them where the strings are remaining open the way they would on a standard volley. And then allow for some racket release. Don't play them so compact where you find yourself netting them because they're not getting enough of a push, okay? So that's all I got for you today. I hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those really helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well, and we'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.